finally today, we know that cattle communicate with each other. That much is obvious. But what if we were able to understand what they were saying? Or mooing? Market Journal's Maddie McIntosh has more on this story.
These cattle calls may sound similar, but they come from different cows in different situations. Alexandra Green, a PhD candidate at the University of Sydney in Australia, has been studying cows' individual voices in order to learn more about their welfare.
The study of bioacoustics has been done for decades in a range of wildlife and mammalian species, but more recently, studies have been looking at livestock and the emotional content of their voices, so more particularly in pigs, horses, and goats. However, knowledge of cattle vocal communication is relatively limited. And now that we've got all of these advanced analysis techniques and new insights from other animal species, we can study really in-depth cattle vocal communication.
The data collection part of her research was a long and delicate process. Throughout the process, the cows were placed in different social situations, both positive and negative, in order to hear how they would react.
The process is relatively long. It involves me going out into the field with a shotgun microphone and recording the cattle in response to different farming contexts where they're likely to vocalize. So when they were eligible for mating, when they were excited over a feed reward, when they were then denied this feed access, and then because they are very social, we also recorded them when they were isolated from their herd mates with and without vision of their herd mates.
Once the data had been collected, Alexandra traveled to France, where she worked with bioacousticians in order to analyze the cows' voices.
Essentially, you import the sound data and you bring up the waveforms of the sounds, and you can look and extract a range of different vocal features. So I looked at 21 different vocal features, things such as the duration of the sound, the pitch, the variation of the pitch throughout the call, how loud the vocalization sounded, how rough it sounded, and any abrupt jumps between the pitch. And then I analyzed all of that data and then did the statistical analyses after that.
After all the analyzation was done, Alexandra was able to confirm that cows do have individual voices that do not vary from situation to situation.
But the more novel and interesting finding is that this individuality is stable across contexts. The cows were able to maintain their individual distinctiveness of their voice across the positive and negative contexts. So it shows that cattle are able to recognize an individual independent of what they say. So for example, if a cow was to vocalize in anticipation of feed, her voice would be individualized and identified when she then vocalized out of isolation.
Moving forward, Alexandra says the goal is to create new technologies in the cattle industry in order to improve the welfare of the animals.
So we can actually learn a lot of information from just recording their vocalizations about the individual identity, their emotional state. So there is potential that we can, once we map out all of this information, we can develop technologies around this. Worldwide, you're seeing a trend of increasing herd sizes and a decreasing individual animal attention. So if we can develop novel techniques to analyze the welfare of cattle, then it's only going to be beneficial for the farming industry.
Reporting for Market Journal, I'm Maddie McIntosh.